Hey everybody, in today's video I'll be showing you a few upcoming games that you might be interested in joining. If you're interested in joining any of these games, I'll leave a link to their group and Discord server in the description of this video. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing as that's the best way to support me. Without further ado, let's begin with the first game. Starting off, we'll be looking at a group called the State of Boulder. This is the closest to release as the developers have already announced a release date for the game. With the game being less than a week away, you won't have to wait a long time to play the actual game. Now, the State of Boulder is also being created by the developers of Noosa, which if you didn't previously know, they created the state of Ridgeway. So already looking at the game, you can see a lot of similarities between Ridgeway and Boulder. Now, the developers haven't really shown us the gameplay side of it, so I'm not totally sure if they're actually going to bring new ideas to the table. Now, I talked with one of the group administrators and asked him about what will make Boulder stand out among the rest of the Rose States and City RP games out there. He told me they plan on adding civilian jobs and opportunities for the players to make money, and also how they don't want to cater as much to the police as most groups usually do. Also, he talked about there being mansions and casinos so people can gamble their hard-earned money. That's all I really know about the game, as the developers have been relatively silent on the topic of sharing information about the game, so on November 26th we'll find out whether or not this game is worth playing. The next game we'll be checking out is the State of Melrose, which is an upcoming Rose State that goes off in the direction of a more realistic experience rather than the usual cops and robbers style that we normally have. Matter of fact, I've already made a video on Melrose that goes a little bit more into detail about the group, so be sure to check that out if this project piques your interest. Now, the developers are focusing on the roleplay element, and they said there will be in-game features that give civilians plenty of things to do rather than going on crime sprees. To list a few features, they plan on adding a wide range of civilian jobs as well as more niche stuff like hunting and fishing. They plan on adding boats, so that'll definitely be another path players can take, and they also have features for criminals to make money, which include robbing stores, banks, and ATMs. On the topic of police, there will be serial numbers on guns, evidence markers, police tape, spike strips, and the ability to shoot out tires. And those are just the features that I know about. The owner said, quote unquote, "We want Melrose to have an endless possibility of grinding but also fun." Talking with him more, he said he also wants to keep the nostalgic Mayflower feel while improving the roleplay of the game. Now, Melrose does have a set release date like the State of Boulder, but after asking the owner about when the game might be released, he said hopefully very soon, and that the map's already complete, but they just need to complete all the scripting side and patch up whatever bugs remain. Personally, I believe Melrose has a lot of potential. They're taking inspiration from Mayflower, which is arguably the greatest Rose State of all time, and then adding in a ton of new ideas that will hopefully fix a lot of the issues that Mayflower is plagued with. So I definitely recommend keeping an eye out on the development of Melrose because it's probably one of the biggest projects at the moment. Alright, let's move on to the next project. Now, I'm going to be a bit biased for this game because it's definitely the one that I'm most excited for out of everything else. If you don't already know what Broadview County is, well, it's a highly realistic county roleplay game that's based in Key West. And if you want to see more of it, check out my sheriff video I made on it. Broadview County is already in an alpha phase, but SSUs have been halted until the next big update has been released. The reason I put Broadview in a video about upcoming roleplay games is because the update they're planning on pushing out is going to change almost every aspect of the game. I've been helping test a lot of the new features they've been adding and actually getting to see for myself whether or not this is any good. Just to list a few things they've already completed: ragdoll, new vehicle models and vehicle handling, real estate and properties, and new UI for the gun shops and all the other stores in the game. If you really want to see the progress and how great development has been going, then boost the Broadview County Discord and you can see the insane amount of work going on behind the curtains. The great thing about this is it gives people who are really dedicated to a project some transparency on what's happening. By the way, they post leaks about every single day, so boosting is absolutely worth it. Broadview is an extremely unique game which invests heavily into the lore and what it was like in the Florida Keys in the late 90s. So if you're looking for a new experience in the roleplay genre, then I highly recommend joining the community and giving Broadview a shot. Alright, let's move on to the final game. For the last segment, we'll be looking at a game that a lot of people will be familiar with. Firestone version 3 is a sequel to Firestone version 2, which is and has been open to the public for a few years now. V2 has become quite outdated, so it's quite obvious that the developers need to roll out a new version. I made a video on V3 a few months back as well, so once again, if you want a further look into what V3 plans on bringing, I recommend checking that out. Now, a few major things V3 plans on improving is the scale of the map, the roleplay, and the amount of stuff civilians can do. Obviously, version 3 is a complete remake of the game with different cars, maps, scripts, and so on. But from the looks of it, they're trying to create a large map with a ton of places for people to explore and having a dozen different ways of making money. It's definitely incomplete in certain areas, but the most recent update fixed a lot of the biggest issues that I complained about in my previous video. So if they can keep improving V3 and push it into a playable beta state, then Firestone might just get the long-awaited revival it's been needing for multiple years. A few of my concerns with V3 is the inconsistent development, where you'll get to see something new almost every day, then it's just radio silence for a week or two. Almost 3 months back, they had a developer meeting, and Fedora said that hopefully in around a few weeks they'll get V3 into a beta state. It's been over 3 months since he made that announcement, so they're definitely falling behind and it's been putting doubt in V3. Now, the great thing about Firestone is that they already have a playable game for anyone who wants to play, so you can get in on some action before V3 is released. If you don't already know, most of my channel is based around Firestone content, and I would still recommend to anyone to hop in and become whatever career path you're interested in. The game still averages a lot of players and the community is pretty active, so give it a try if you haven't already. Plus, I highly encourage people to join early, since if you can get into a department before V3 releases, you'll be able to patrol right when it launches instead of having to wait. I really hope Firestone V3 succeeds, since it can definitely bring a lot of new things to this genre, as well as repopularizing the roasted genre, which has been dying ever since Mayflower started to die off. Big thanks to everyone for watching the video all the way through. It really means a lot. If you'd like to support me, please consider subscribing. And if you'd like to talk with me and potentially be in a future video, join my Discord server. I'll leave the link in the description of the video. Also, if you have a game or group you'd like me to cover in a future video, feel free to comment or DM me on Discord. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.